Hello, everyone. I'm Angela Lewis, and tonight I am going to be the guest host for Live with Shenita talk show. Unfortunately, Shenita had an emergency that she had to attend to, so we're going to carry on the show on her behalf, okay? And she will be returning next month. I want to remind you guys that in 2025, the Live with Shenita talk show will only air monthly. It's going to air on the fourth Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. So I want to welcome you again to the Live with Shanita show. And remember that this show, the ultimate goal is to help people overcome life's challenges and to encourage you all to live life to the fullest. Okay? I'm excited about the topic tonight because it is how to thrive in 2025. And I have got six super dynamic hosts, well, guests that are going to help and share with all of us how you can thrive in 2025. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I want to bring in first, our first guest is Pastor Doug Gumby of the Contender Church. Can we welcome Pastor Gumby in, please?
Hey, good evening. How you doing?
Good, great. Thank you for joining us. So, do you want to tell our audience a little bit about you and your background?
I'm really not as complex as many would suspect as being a pastor. Love people. I love the Word of God. I love the truth of the Word, and have learned in my 50 years as a man, 25 as a husband, over 30 years as a father,
Mm-hmm.
and 20 plus years as shepherding God's people, to put him first and realize that he is the strength that we all need, that we didn't know we need, but we're grateful to have once we realize.
Wow, that is out awesome. Well, thank you for being here. I
Thank you.
want to actually welcome our second guest, Coach Shawanda Stallworth. She represents our health and fitness sector, and her business is called Level 5 Health and Sports Fitness. Hello, Coach Shawanda.
Greetings, everybody. How are y'all?
Great, great. Welcome to the Life with Shanita talk show. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. Well, my background is in biology. I decided to become a trainer in 2018 after I went through my own transformation of losing weight, doing bodybuilding, and then deciding to help others to, lose weight and feel better about themselves because it's not
Mhm.
really all about the outside, it's about the inside first. So, once you feel better on the inside, then you start making those kind of strides and goals to actually make the inside match the outside. So, I decided to join level 5 in 2021. So I've been there 3 years and it's been great. I've been meeting a lot of people and I've just been enjoying the journey of helping people understand that they can do it if they put their mind to it. So, and it's
I
not as
love
hard.
it. I love it. Well, welcome, welcome. Well,
Thank you.
please, I want to welcome our next guest, and that is Floyd Gant. Let's see if we can get Floyd into the studio.
All
There
right,
you
I'm here.
are. We can see you live and in person. Welcome,
I'm here.
Floyd.
I
Floyd
don't
is
know if
with
that's.
Ed. Well, let me
I
just
said I
tell
don't
the
know if that's a
audience
good
a little
thing.
bit about you. Floyd is with Edward Jones. He is an expert in all things finances and a financial advisor and investor. Can you tell us a little bit about you, Floyd, and your background?
Thanks, Angela, and pleasure to meet you. Also, I always enjoy being here and working with Shanita, so it's good to have a new face. Also, it's a pleasure.
Thank
Um, my
you.
my background goes back to my days in college. I graduated mathematics and I got my MBA in finance. And I always want to understand how money works. So in order for to understand how money works, I believe we had to go in that particular field. I have about 10 years in corporate finance and over 17 years in financial services helping people.
Wow.
I enjoy it. So I enjoy trying to show people the way and how to make money. And so many changes are happening. And in our community, a lot of times we just need to understand the basics. And I try to do that through seminars, symposium. I'm talking to several churches, Pastor Gundy. I'm just reaching out to people that understand so we can get ahead in this society.
That's awesome because I love it when I hear people doing everything they can to, I guess, let's just say, shorten the wealth gap, for our Black and brown people. And so I love that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, coming up next is our fourth guest, Audrey Johnson, and she's representing our mental health sector. Hello, Audrey.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Well, welcome. Audrey actually has her own company. It's called RX View. And will you tell us, go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I'm Audrey Bowler Johnson, and I'm from Pensacola. So Shenita and I are friends from our hometown in Pensacola. Shout out to Pensacola. I'm a pharmacist by profession and primarily operations manager. I've worked in various segments in the healthcare arena and nursing homes, hospitals, retail, put pharmacies together. But my passion is minority health. And
That's
so I
great.
related to my platform with RX View, working on healing the hues as a subcategory and working in our brown communities to improve health and wellness.
Okay.
So minority health is my primary focus as I identified through my career experiences and spaces of work where our people struggle and the knowledge of the people, people perish for the lack of knowledge, right? And
yes,
important resources. So my goal is to develop a platform and render motivational opportunities for people to be improved in health and wellness.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, thank you. And again, welcome, Audrey. Okay. Our next guest that we want to welcome to the show is Jay White. And Jay is representing our entrepreneur sector. Hi, Jay. How's it going this evening?
Man, life is amazing. Thank you guys for having me. To the rest of the panelists, salute everybody. Thank you for having me. Shenita and I go way back, about 20 years now. And
wow.
Gosh, there's so much happening, so much to talk about in so little time.
Okay.
I represent the entrepreneur sector of this particular experience this evening. And like many of the sentiments shared already, I'm passionate about our people. And just at the end of the day, I'm just here to maximize what God called me to do. And as long as I stay in that lane, and my vehicle is entrepreneurship, and just really spotlighting that, I believe that I think we do God the best service when we put ourselves in position to even thinking about what it means to maximize our highest and best potential.
That's awesome.
And I don't even think it's not even on our spectrum. It's not even fathomable because of the distractions. We got a lot of distractions and constantly having or asking for seats at other people's tables. And it's nothing wrong. I want everybody to do well because we're all God's creation. And I want nothing bad for anybody. But I think as Black folk here, our number one priority ought to be taking care of our communities. In my closing, a sister shared this with me last week, which was, just jaw-dropping. And backdrop to this last statement. So I'm a graduate of the Interdenominational Theological Center. So I've gone through the ministry per se. And what she said to me was, she said, we don't need a savior, we need a system.
A system?
She said, she's like, we save, we good. We don't need saviors, we need systems. which is how we continue to find ourselves in vulnerable situations. So when she said that to me, it just really resonated. So I'm here to share some information just around that space and how I've been able to do that.
Well,
So
that's
thank you guys for
awesome.
having me.
You're welcome. And we're going to come back because I echo that sentiment entirely. I am actually a real estate professional with Keller Williams, West Atlanta. And I'm going to tell you, systems are just definitely always at the forefront of everything. And last but not least, our last guest that we're welcoming is Donnie Lewis, AKA the Louisiana Country Boy, representing the motivation sector. Hello, Donnie.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I guess I gotta be motivated because I just had to go pick up my 5-year-old. That's why I'm late. It ain't my fault. We're gonna blame it on her, okay?
Well, as they say, better late than never, but guess what? You are right on time, okay?
Well,
Right
thank you,
on
thank you.
time. So, well, I just want to remind everybody the reason why all of you all are here is because your sentiments echo basically what Shenita just really has an essence for, and that is always to educate, inform, inspire, and empower the audience, okay? So as we sort of dialogue tonight, we want to just keep that in the forefront. That's what Shanita would have us to do, okay? And whatnot. So I'm going to ask you all some questions because Donnie, I don't know if you heard this, but the theme of tonight's show that Shanita wanted us to basically lead with was how do we thrive in 2025? Okay.
Mm.
Okay, so I'm going to ask each of you some questions, and then you guys can just answer and then share with us, any tidbits, any nuggets that you want to leave. That's more than fine. Okay. So I tell you what, I'm going to shake it up a little bit. They do say sometimes ladies first, so I'm going to start with Coach Shawanda. Is that okay with everybody? All right, cool beans. So, Coach, with emerging fitness trends emphasizing the integration of mental wellness and physical activity, such as mindfulness, how can individuals incorporate these practices, like being mindfulness, doing their workouts, into their routines to enhance their overall health?
Well, first of all, I like to think that sometimes we're not being mindful when we're on our phones. It's hard to be mindful
Ah.
when working out. And I see that all the time. It bothers me to no end when I see somebody on a treadmill and they're walking like a mile an hour and they're just looking at their phone. You can't be mindful of what you're doing, of the muscles or what you're supposed to be doing if you're on your phone. So a lot of times I think we got to take that out first. You can't be mindful like that. We're so
Okay.
distracted with
Mhm.
social media, with this, we're trying to
Yes.
look at the next trend that you can't be mindful. Be
Okay.
mindful of how you can get through it, right? So a lot of times we see
Mm-hmm.
this stuff on Instagram, we're like, oh, I could do that. And in my mind, I'm like, if you do that, you're gonna hurt yourself, right? We're all on different levels. I've seen people jump over stuff. I'm like, I'll be 50, in a year or two. And I'm like, I'm not trying to jump over something like that with these legs. You know what I mean? Like, could I do that? Could I be a train? Yes. But you have to be mindful and stay in the lane that you're in. We always go hard to go home, but you have to be mindful of what your heart is. My
Mm-hmm.
heart is different from your heart. Yeah, because I've done more things. I've done marathons. I've done bodybuilding. So I'm all over the place. So the things that I do, you might can't do. So my thing is to be
Mm-hmm.
mindful of where you are in your journey, and then you can implement other things into it.
I love it. I love that. So that's our first nugget, everybody. We all agreeing that we're going to do that, correct? So I really like that. Thank you, Coach Shawanda. Pastor Doug, the question I have for you is in the face of rapid technology advancement and all these societal changes anticipated for 2025, how can individuals maintain and deepen their spiritual practices to find inner peace and purpose?
I'm careful as to how I answer this because the truth of the matter is, as believers, we are called to defend the faith.
Okay.
And the word that's used in Jude 1 and 3 is to put up an earnest defense, to go to war for our belief. And so, in a day and age where society and technology has overtaken, we've given voice to people who don't have God's heart. God's heart
Mm.
is for discipleship and calling those who do not know him, according to Matthew 28:18-20, to go out and make disciples of every ethnic group. And according to First Peter 3, we are always prepared to give an answer and let anyone know that asks for a reason for the hope that is within us, and to be able to do that with gentleness and with respect. The problem is we've given voice to too many people who don't know God, who have no
Mm.
relationship with him. They're
Mm-hmm.
more spiritual than they are anything else, but they have no connection with the redemptive blood of Jesus Christ. And as
Wow.
preachers, we have to take a stand, and I stand alone most often in conversations, because I stand on the simple fact that we're called, just as Christ said in the parable. Many are called, but few of us are chosen. And the problem
Mm.
is there are a lot of people who are calling themselves called, but don't have the relationship with the one who called. And so, if you don't have the relationship, you don't carry the message. And because you don't carry the message, you're preaching and proclaiming things that God has not proclaimed. And that's how the church for the last 20, 30 years have gotten off track with the prosperity gospel and the all of these different gospels that have popped up. And I'm very
Mm.
careful to take us back to the root of what we've been called to do, to call man out of sin, period.
Okay.
We don't
Right.
have a choice. We don't have an option. It's not going to be pretty, and we won't be well liked, but we're going to have to do what we've been called to do.
I
So
love that.
the balance of the technology piece is develop a filter. And if it
Mm-hmm.
does not line up with the word of God, cut
Mm.
it off.
Wow. That's pretty powerful. Let me ask you this. Did you happen to see this movie that came out called The Forge?
Have not.
Oh, you
I'm
have
I'm
not.
I'm rarely into a lot of movies. I watch old movies, but most of the time I'm working, and when I'm sitting still, I hope to be free enough to go ride my bike. That's about all I do nowadays.
Well, did any of you on this panel, did any of you all see that movie, The Forge? Well, I'm just telling you, Pastor Doug, I think that when you mentioned discipleship, it's a Christian based movie, and that's what the premise is. And I thought they did a really good job of having taking a young man's story who was basically had lost, was not focused and sort of rough behind the edges, and how just having the right man in his life to come and to mentor and disciple him just set him on a path that totally changed the trajectory of his life.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to highly recommend that. So thank you for that.
Thank
Okay. Audrey, would you answer this for us? So, given the increasing awareness of mental health, what proactive steps can individuals take in 2025 to prioritize their mental well being and prevent burnout?
Okay, that's a very good question. And thank you very much. I'm definitely enjoying the opportunity to be here with all of these well individuals. So, being proactive with your mental health is definitely step one is identifying that where you are. You
Mhm.
really need to be in tune and honest and acknowledge where you are. If you're depressed, you're sad, you're frustrated, uh, wherever you're anxious, you're overwhelmed, whatever those emotions and feelings are, identifying first what that is. And
Okay.
then to be proactive, my recommendation and request is that you evaluate how to extract and remove bricks out your wagon. What
Mm.
is unnecessary and what's necessary. Sometimes just because you can doesn't mean you should. And
Oh.
a lot of times we're overextended, overpressured. Our work environment or home life is not conducive to our comfort. And if
Mm-hmm.
you know that you are uncomfortable, you need to seek inward is the first proactive step I recommend is to evaluate what is it that's bothering you most?
Mm-hmm.
And then we go from there to go say, okay, what can we do about it or do with that information, right?
Mm-hmm.
So proactively, they first need to identify that there is an issue or problem for them that's keeping them from being comfortable, confident, and thriving and being the best them that they can be.
Wow. I like that. Let me just tell you from one of the things that I found that I would do too much is um I am a person that tends to want to help. If anybody needs help, but I had to learn that number one, I had to understand truly what my purpose is or what are my goals that and then when I'm being asked to do something, I have to see if that request lines up with basically what I just said my goals or my focus is going to be. And
Mhm.
I had to learn that no is a complete sentence and it can help me with my mental health.
Absolutely. And setting boundaries and
Mm-hmm.
holding yourself accountable to those boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
because now you know that you are overwhelmed or overstretched or uncomfortable, be it in whatever area that's discomforting. It could be finance, it could be relationship, it could be
Mm-hmm.
children's behavior, it could be familial family relationships, whatever it could be, whatever that instrument of problem is, you need to identify and establish what boundaries you need to step and hold yourself accountable to those boundaries.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
start being proactive first with self-assessment,
Okay.
self-analysis of that's the first proactive step.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Well, in everything that we do, we know that a big part of keeping everything in check as far as our whole being is our finances. So I'm going to go to you, Floyd, and I want to ask you this, our financial guru with Edward Jones. Considering the evolving economic landscape, what key financial strategies should individuals adopt in 2025 to ensure financial stability and growth?
A great question, Angela. And when I listen to everyone, we have a lot of different people. We're talking about fitness,
Mm-hmm.
spirituality, the mind, and working with different things. All of that kind of rounds up, and we need to be financially fit, right? And when I
Mm.
think about that, the first thing you need to do is invest. Don't be scared
Okay.
to put up money. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's a great time. I know
Mm.
that we have a person maybe in office that everybody don't agree with, but I believe AI is real.
Mm-hmm.
Artificial intelligence is real, people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you quickly, it is. Let me tell you some facts, and I share, and I do a lot of different speeches and different things, but it is so true, and I can't express this to you.
Okay.
In 2022, we had the third worst year in the stock market. Third worst year in the stock market since
Mm.
2008. That's when we had the real estate crash.
Mm-hmm.
Market went down over 55%.
Wow.
Since real estate crashed, the number one at first the market going down was 1929, depression. In
Mm.
2008, when the market went down, which is the second worst year, we had 7 years of positive growth. Look at my hand, people. 7.
Wow.
Okay. Now, we're just on our second year of positive growth. If I can tell you anything, you need to be a part of the market. You need to
Okay.
be maxing out. You need to be doing your 401k plan. I'm going to run over a few things with you. If you're working for an employer, do your 401k plan, something called a match, MATCH. That's what we call free money. Most
Mm-hmm.
companies don't match over 6%. Okay. Pastor, the Lord said give 10% to the church. You need to give 10% to yourself also. I always tell my clients that. There's an article that reads, if you give 10% to yourself, starting at age 23, you'll be a millionaire by the time you're 40.
Mm-hmm.
You need to start giving 10% to yourself. Okay. The second part, if you have your own business, give 10%. You open up what we call a solo 401k if you're by yourself. For entrepreneurs that are out there, or you should doing something called a Roth, ROTH IRA. The most you can put in a Roth is $7,000 per year if you're under 50, and if you're 50 and older, it's $8,000. That money's tax free, so it's after tax money that grows tax free. Now, what do you invest in? So many things, but I need you to be a part of it. We're only in our second year of the market going up. I believe we have another year. I look at the early 2000s when the internet came out. We had paper millionaires from the 90s to 99 to 2002, and then we had a collapse in the market. But the Googles, the Amazons, the Microsoft, the companies that stayed around, if you stayed in those companies, you were well off, right? The market bounced back. The AI, artificial intelligence people, is not a guessing game. It's ran by the big companies. The big companies, the Microsoft, the Amazons, the Nvidias, the companies that you hear about all the time. They're gonna trickle down to the smaller companies later on. I didn't say anything about crypto, people, did I? Right? You can invest in these big companies. Like I put my mother in Amazon. That's the first stock I told her to go in, right? You can invest in these big companies and you can go to sleep at night. You don't have to worry about these things. I believe that we look at it, we'll look back 20 years from now, we'll say, what were we on the verge of and where will AI take us? Now, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. Different things are going to happen around society, but we need to be a part of this as far as the investing is concerned. So my word is to tell everybody, be a part of the market, okay? Number one, be a part of the market. Now, for my people who are very conservative, it's also great for them now. Interest rates are high. Inflation went up in 2022 because of COVID. The Federal Reserve raised the rates. So now we have high rates. People, if you have money in your bank account, take it out now. And I'm going to say it again, take it out now. Right now, you can get corporate bonds at 5.6 to 6% for the next 8 to 10 years. Listen to what I'm saying, 5.6 to 6%. And some of the corporate bonds that are out there from huge corporations are from banks like Citigroup, Bank of America. You don't have to sit on the sideline. A lot of money market accounts, which are a glorified savings account, are paying close to 5%. And they're updated every month. The Feds are trying to lower rates, but they can't lower rates because the market is shooting up and they're scared inflation is going to come back. So those who are conservative, I don't want any money sitting in the savings account not making any money at 0.2 or less than 1%. You can at least be averaging over 4.5 to 5% in the money market, or you can do corporate bonds at 5.5 to 6%. So nobody should be sitting on the sideline during these times. I can express how big it is, okay? Conservative or aggressive, hopefully you're just moderate. We need to run this market up as much as we can. I believe we have another positive year in the market. It will go down one day, but AI is real, and I want you to leave with that.
I love it. I love it. I was reading an article, Floyd, about AI, and it was telling me that all of the readers, when it comes to AI, one of the biggest needs that they have is power,
Yes.
because when someone actually, you type, I don't know if everybody on the panel is familiar with search engines such as like Chat GPT. You type in a question, it's saying that it takes about, I don't know, 7 times more power to get that question answered than like a Google. And so what the big companies are coming together now, and they are actually pouring into these power hubs or whatnot.
Yep.
And so with that in mind, do you think those are wise sort of stocks to be putting some money into?
Yeah, so when you look at the thing, you hit it right on, Angela. Big companies, guys, big companies. Don't guess with the small companies. There are small companies out there, but the big companies have the money. If you look at it, I divide it into 3 tiers. This is not something that I'm telling you, each person is different in what they invest in, but I would tell you that 3 tiers are real. You're talking about the big companies that can afford things. That's Microsoft, who put $10 billion in the Chat GPT, what you're talking about. They basically owned it in a sense. You look at Google, which owns Gemini, right? Gemini is their AI component, just as powerful as Chat GPT. You have Meta, which is huge. Meta is huge out there. You have Amazon is huge. You also have Salesforce, which is the leading agency in cloud enterprise, which is the company that we use for our particular enterprise where we type in our computers. Then we have that second phase, the people who are making the technology for the chips, NVIDIA, AMD, and then you got a list of other ones. We grew up with Intel. I would tell you, Intel only makes 2% of the chips nowadays technology.
Right.
But Texas Instrument and those out there. But NVIDIA has been leading that technology. And the final one who's making the chips is a company called Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, TSMC. Okay. TSM is the ticker. They make 60% of the chips out there. How many chips are we going to make in the next 10 years? How many chips are in cars? How many chips are out there? So when you look at that little thing, all those companies are named were large companies, right? Now, small companies will get it, but you're right. They can't afford the storage out there. They can't afford the power. It costs so much money to generate these AI with Gemini, with Chat GPT, that the small companies are being left behind.
And another thing I want to interject, so for I'm sure all of us have young people, that we, take the time and mentor. We want to coach and give guidance. I used to actually be an adjunct faculty member at the University of South Carolina. So I was always looking for ways to, share with young people, looking at the trends. So when one sector does go away, like people, when you hear this, when you see the handwriting on the wall and people are saying, oh, AI is going to take away so many jobs. That's true in a sense of some type, but guess what? Whenever there's a new type of something being introduced to an industry, there's also new jobs needed to power that industry. So there are going to be needs to be able to power these powerhouses and people to help put the information and the data in these like sites like ChatGPT and all the other sites that Floyd mentioned. So yes, some things may go away, but there's always going to be jobs. You just have to know where they're going to be going.
That's
Okay.
right. Skill jobs are coming. And I'll give you a perfect example when I leave this. Eli
Okay.
Lilly created a drug that everybody's familiar with, the diet drug, right? And we all hear about it. The stock went up so much percentage, hundreds of percent, and so many people are using the diet drug that's out there. And other companies have fallen behind, but the opportunity is Eli Lilly and Novel created that. They've skyrocketed up because diet drugs have taken out, but the rest of the medical companies have been left behind. Right.
Okay.
The Pfizer's and everybody. So you look at it, could be a buying opportunity for the other companies like Moderna, which did the COVID drug off Pfizer, which is down at $26 per share. Those companies have been left behind, while only a diet drug that costs what everybody's buying now, over $1 billion industry, has caused Eli Lilly and Novel to skyrocket up, right? And I get it. That's a great drug. People are using it. They have all kind of things. I don't know what's going to happen 5 years from now on the drug. But because of that, the opportunity that the other people have left behind. So it works just like you say, Angela. Just because you see something moving fast, there's always opportunity to something else, even in investing. Don't get discouraged. Looking for the companies at the bottom too and say, hey, this medical field has been down for 3 years other than those two companies that did the diet drugs.
Right.
Maybe opportunity to go in those.
I love it. So thank you for that. Yep, I love it. Now, all of this being said, a lot of people, of course, we definitely believe in corporate America, but a lot of us too understand that sometimes our true financial freedom comes from entrepreneurship. So here to represent our entrepreneur sector is we have the dynamic Jay White. And hi, Jay.
Hey, I'm grateful.
Great. Well, Jay, Atlanta is really getting braced for something super phenomenal in 2026. And that is, we're going to be hosting the World Cup here in the ATL. So, can you tell our audience how basically you are getting prepared for this beautiful World Cup soccer tournament?
Well, fortunately, and thank you for the question. Fortunately, because I've owned some restaurants and some other brick and mortars here, I was kind of in the loop of a time a few years ago when Atlanta hosted the Super Bowl. And when Atlanta hosts these big events, it doesn't just happen overnight. Like, planning happens, right? So the Super Bowl host committee came to my particular community. I'm out of the West End, and they pretty much vetted who are the business owners in the area to do these week-long activations, right? So we were to have parties, we get storefront, upgrades and designs and all these types of events. Well, they came and they went and they drove around us and they drove out. They went to the stadium, spent their money, drove back out, and they went back home. So none of the people or businesses in the community that is not even a mile from the stadium, we kind of got skipped over. So that's my prelude into saying, I believe that we ought to have our own sandbox to play in, because if you don't, then you're hoping that other people invite you to their sandbox to play, right? And I think people have it kind of confused a little bit, thinking that because you're in Atlanta that you're automatically included. But I promise you, there's a meeting before the meeting. So especially for brown people, minorities, be it, I don't care if you're a black woman, black man, doesn't matter. I just say create your own sandbox. So with this World Cup, and that's my 285 version of saying, have your own sandbox. So we're creating our own sandbox be in our own tournament. And I recognize, and let me say this, I am grateful that this opportunity is coming to the city, because if you look at the reports, they said within 7 days, $4 billion will pass through Atlanta. Now it's going to go to other cities and states. I mean, it's a big to do, but Atlanta will stand to make $502 million from tourists, not from residents, not from residents or anybody that is here local, but from people who are coming in, right? So positioning yourself in your business or whatever product or service you're going to offer for that particular time. And don't get me wrong, there's things to do to sustain your life until 26 comes. But for us, we are being proactive to create our own sandbox so that the other, you know, Mercedes Stadium seats 71,000 people. But unlike other countries who really only have soccer, we have the privilege, we have the privilege of having basketball and football and baseball, right?
Absolutely.
But the rest of the world only has soccer. You know what I mean? So when they come, they bring the whole country with them, right? So, which is, I mean, if you've been to a college football tailgate, let's just say Alabama, Georgia, and how they bring the whole state of Alabama here, that is a modicum of what you're going to experience when you talk about other countries coming to support, because this is the biggest stage. So I just say position yourself, get a product or service, and then do it with some partners where you can have a business where you can capitalize off of what's coming. If it's home, if it's Airbnb, because we know people are going to sleep. We know they're going to eat, they're going to drink, they're going to buy souvenirs, and they're going to move around the city. So if you can find yourself positioned in any one of those sectors, you got a good chance of being successful.
That's good, Jay. I love that. Let me just tell you this little story, guys. I actually moved here in 1994, and that was 2 years before we had the Olympics here in 96, right? So I tried to, I ended up joining like the Vendors Association because I decided I wanted to be a street vendor. And I met with these guys they were right outside of, it used to be called Turner Field at that time. Do you remember that? The stadium. It's now, I think, belongs to Georgia State. But do you know that up until, I mean, literally, we were going to meetings, meeting with all the city council people. About 2 weeks, or maybe, I'm going to say maybe 6 months before the actual Olympics hit, those people, they had those spots right outside the stadium. But guess what? They pushed us all back and put those prime spots for corporate America. Coca-Cola, Pitney Bowes, UPS, all of the big 100 companies end up getting those spots. So thusly, I didn't become a millionaire. I did become a thousandaire, but you're right. You need to be thinking along the lines of getting your piece of the pie. So I love that. So thank you for sharing that. So with all of this, the nuggets that we've had so far, from the health and, our mental wellness and all the things that we're going to be thinking about entrepreneur-wise, we're going to need some motivation coming into the mix. So here to represent our motivation sector is we've got the Louisiana country boy himself, Donnie. Donnie, how's it going?
Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness.
Well, my question for you tonight is, in a world filled with, we got distractions and challenges, what motivational techniques can individuals employ to stay focused and achieve their personal goals in 2025?
Well, I will start off by saying this. Either you will get nourished or you will be nourishment.
Ooh, wow.
So, and I say that to say you have to be very, 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 you have to know the ground. You have to know your surroundings.
Okay.
But most importantly, you must know who's in your corner.
Wow.
A lot of people think and they talk about circles, which is a great thing. But here's the thing I know that I've learned about circles, and I was sharing this with somebody else. If you ever think about the boxing ring, You ever think about all the famous boxers?
Mm-hmm.
We often talk about the people who were in their circle,
Mm.
but what seldom misses who was in their corner.
Wow.
It was that corner person that was there rooting them on. It was that corner person that was there taking care of their wounds. It was that corner person that was there telling them, hey, they're jabbing over here. You need to duck over here. The one that's in your corner is
Mm.
not looking for anything from you, but they're offering you so much. Either you're going to get nourished or you're going to be nourishment.
Wow.
The
That's
second,
powerful. I
the second
love
thing
that.
I will say is this is, and I just thought of this, God gave me this today. Do you want to be a winner or a champion?
Mm. Wow.
If
I
you're
love it.
just if you just want to win, see, have you often heard about how champions, even if they lose graciously? But
Yes.
if you're just going for the win, you don't take the lessons, but a champion grasps everything. Even if they don't win, they still win.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
in 2025, how do you thrive? You figure out, first and foremost, who's in your corner.
Mm. I love it.
And the second thing you figure out, do I want to win or do I want to be a champion?
I love that. Wow. Powerful. Thank you. Well, I think everybody on this call will certainly agree that we want to be champions, and we definitely are going to take the time to think of who's in our corner. So I'm going to try to see if I can get through another question real quick, because you guys have just given us some great nuggets on how we can thrive in 2025. So I'm just going to go real quick and let's get brief to the point, because we want to try to give the listeners as another nugget from everybody. So, from our spiritual sector, Pastor Doug, what role does community play in spiritual well being, and how can people foster meaningful connections within their spiritual communities within this upcoming year?
Again, I'm led to give us words of caution,
Okay.
to beware of wolves in sheep's clothing.
Mm,
There are many who sound spiritual, sound religious, act spiritual, act religious, but they do not have your best interest at heart. And I want to piggyback on the great motivator himself. Check who's in your corner. Uh,
mm,
I realize, and that is a truth, that we all must take. We grew up under in our generation. I'm 50. We grew up being asked by our parents, if your friends jump off a bridge, are you willing to do the same thing?
that's right.
But in today's spiritual walk and in today's spiritual life, many people are jumping off bridges because people are standing on bridges. And we have to go back to the standard of the word. And sometimes, by the standard of the word, no matter how much we love people, Jesus told the disciples when he sent them out to go and make other disciples. When you
Mm-hmm.
enter into a city
Mm-hmm.
and you're welcome, leave the peace. But if you're enter into a city and you're not received, shake the dust off your feet and keep
Mm,
it pushing. And so we have to have a determination that, like I said when I first got started, you got to be willing to stand alone. If the
mm,
community doesn't come with you, if your friends don't come with you, if your family, your mama, your sister, your brother, your wife, your husband don't come with you, when it
mm.
comes to your relationship with God, you've got to be willing to do it alone if nobody else moves with you.
Powerful. Thank you for that. Thank you. Coach Shawanda, as a
Yes.
personalized fitness programs, as they gain popularity, what strategies can people use to tailor their health and fitness plans to meet their unique goals in 2025?
Well, I'm gonna piggyback off of what I said earlier about being mindful of your goals.
Okay.
Because a lot of times we have our buddies come along with us, and we have our so-called workout buddies, and they'll be like, oh, you know what, I don't feel like going today. and then you go, me neither.
Yes.
So then now nobody's going, right? So you have to be mindful of your goal. We keep saying that. We want to bring people in to have hold us accountable, but at the end of the day, you have to hold yourself accountable. If somebody doesn't show up, are you not going to show up? We were just talking about this today. A lot of times we have a group, right? And if somebody in the group falls off, then it's like a ripple. The next person falls off. Are you going to be the one that says, you know what? I don't care what y'all do. I'm going to do what I have to do. So in order to, actually get that workout, you have to think of your goals and make sure they're
Okay.
attainable. A lot of times we have these goals. They're like, and people come to me all the time, oh, I want to get in this dress. I need to lose 20 pounds in 3 weeks. Don't do that. That's not attainable. It's really not. And you have to be mindful of your goals and really set goals that you, first of all, going to attain, and that you can look at and say, you know what, I could do that. It might be hard, but I can see myself doing that. You have to be focused on your own goal and be mindful of your goals, not everybody else's, but yours. Stop looking at these YouTube videos, these social media, and saying, I want to be like that. No, be like you. And that's what I tell people. Let's be like yourself, and we can go from there. So just being mindful of your goals.
I love that. Well, and two things that resonates with me, what you said is number one, don't play the comparison game. When we compare ourselves to others, it sounds like you're saying you're not going to ever measure up. And then two, in corporate America, we call those having SMART goals, things that are specific and measurable and all that good stuff. Okay. Thank you
Right.
so much, Coach Shawanda. Floyd, financial. This is my second question to you is how can people effectively manage financial stress and make informed investment decisions amidst the market uncertainties in this upcoming year?
Thank you, Angela. I think the mind is a beautiful thing, right? Let's not
Mhm.
waste it. And that calls knowledge. A long time ago, I used to meet people that wanted to purchase stock and had no way of purchasing stock, especially for our diverse brothers and sisters. We had no avenues to doing that, but there's no excuse in today's society. You have the internet, you have online that you can purchase different things. You can see a financial advisor like myself if you want that person to kind of guide you through your retirement planning and give you their opinion on different things. That option is out there. Let's don't make excuses for what's out there for us. Books, the internet, and things are out there for us. Understand your risk level. Don't be scared of understanding. The one thing I see that bothers me in today's society is that a lot of times people get more seasonal in age and don't want to change, don't want to open up about things, right? Don't want to open that book and, hey, man, I'm looking at you, right? Because women, I'm going to tell you all, they make up the majority of my clients. They're about change. And Floyd, where can we make some money and how can we make money? But I may get a man in his late 70s or mid 70s. Hey, Floyd, all I know is a CD. Well, open your mind. There may be something else out beside a CD. And we have to be that person, not because we're going to live to be 300 years of age or 200 years of age, but you set a precedent by if you open your mind, you can tell your child and then tell your grandchild about it, right? So we can start that legacy of making sure they understand about different financing, because it's really not about us as we get older. It's about helping that younger generation. That's why it's important that we have that spiritual, that mental, that fitness. We're talking about entrepreneur spirit and that motivation that we have here, that we can help these young people out to get where they need to get. And so when I reach out to these people, forget about how risky you are, or if you're aggressive, or you're conservative. Use your brain, reach out to someone, whether it's myself, I'll be happy to help you. I believe the Lord put me here. Don't want to steal your thunder, Pastor, but I believe I'm the financial spiritual leader over here that will help people out here, Pastor Floyd, in the finance arena. But you could call me. If not, open that book, go yourself and go do it on yourself. But it's out there. So the knowledge. So don't be scared. It's a lot of opportunity out there for you.
I love that. And one of the things I want to say is God is certainly, he is against us being what do you call it? Exhorting people, but he's not anti-prophet. We have every right, and he expects us. Remember what he did to the person who they gave the mites to, and one just buried his and did nothing with it, and said that's horrible. So we're supposed to grow and improve our circumstances when God blesses us with things. So thank you for that. Now, I want to actually go to you, Audrey, with our mental health sector again, and just ask you, how can integrating practices like mindfulness and gratefulness into our daily routines contribute to improve mental health in this fast-paced environment?
There's so many opportunities for us to improve our mental health. And I like how Coach Shawanda said, stop comparing yourself. So a lot of what we deal with is the competition and trying to keep up with others. We just need to love yourself and keep it simple. KISS. Keep it simple. Be a good steward of your time, your talent, and your treasures. But your confidence, your inner peace. So they need to integrate probably the first step, like I shared, the first thing is self-evaluation. You got to identify what is disrupting your peace. What's disrupting your peace of mind? Where are you losing control or don't have control? Is it your finance? Is it relationship? And you need to guard that peace. Establish what those routines need to be. Exercise, do positive affirmations, reading, learn a different task, learn a different school, get around some positive minded people and remove yourself from a toxic environment. But you got to do the work and hold yourself accountable to those standards and those goals that you set for yourself, and start with small steps. But you need to make steps, but guard your mind and guard your peace, but utilize the tools and the resources that are available. And although I'm a pharmacist, medication is not the end all be all and the answer to your situation. It may not, but accountability is the first piece. And as Pastor said, be a good steward of yourself. Be a good steward of your time, your talent, and your treasures. So that's collectively this entire panel. Hold your whole temple, be in good wellness, exercise, get your finances right, pursue and learn, and be motivated and be happy. Right, Mr. Motivation? He says, be happy about it. We got to smile every day. We don't love on ourselves enough. We don't
I
love on
love it.
ourselves enough. We give out more than we actually embrace. So once you
Wow.
get towards that inner peace, but you got to love thyself and look inward and work outward. That's
I
my
love it.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for that. And Jay, for the entrepreneur sector, I do want to ask you this because we were talking about social media and, not comparing themselves. I wanted to ask you as to how do you avoid, I guess, the comparison game when it comes to social media?
Oh, wow. How do I avoid the comparison game when it comes to social media? I just stay in my own lane. One, I use social media to market. Like, for me, I'm not going to spend hours on social media. I'm grateful for the platforms, but I'm fortunate to keep the main thing the main thing. I have a very specific calling. I have a very intentional path.
Mm-hmm.
And, God has really been deliberate about me doing the things that I'm here to do. And I'm just committed to that, just being obedient to that. And I don't, fortunately, I just don't have time to waste on social media or any other thing for real. Like, the thing that I'm here to do, my very purpose for even living and walking around in the earth. Thankfully, I got that download and I haven't looked to the left or right. And thankfully, it has always materialized whatever it is that I'm supposed to do. Fortunate to take ideas from the orbit or the universe or outer
Mm-hmm.
space, and I get the download, and then it becomes something tangible. And so that's my evidence. And when I put it up against, if I have to put it up against social media, I'm just not one to watch other people scrolling, going, I don't know if they're going anywhere or not, but I'm not going with them. Wherever it is they're going, I'm not going with them. So, and I submit that humbly, because I'm sure some great ideas and people doing some things that are positive and going in the right direction. I'm just not invested in that. I'm invested in doing my work that I'm here to do. And again, I don't look to the left or right.
I gotcha. So I'm going to piggyback on you because as an entrepreneur as well, I just want to say one of the things that I do to make sure that I'm, not getting in the comparison game is number one. Now, I do look at social media, but I limit my time. But I look at it to more inspire me to just educate myself as to what's going on. I like to be able to take a part in different conversations, of things coming. So I want to at least be in the know. But you know what I do? When they say as a real estate agent, I need to be doing this on social media, I hire someone to do that. Okay. I delegate that. So that's one of the biggest things that I do is I delegate and I can keep it moving so I can stay in my lane and be more impactful in what I am truly skilled at and supposed to do. So now, as we come to an end, we always want to end on a high note. And I thought, what a better way is to get a little bit more motivation from the Louisiana country boy himself, Donnie. So I wanted to just ask you, Donnie, this last question for the platform tonight is how can storytelling and personal narratives inspire others to overcome obstacles and thrive in this upcoming year?
Oh, well, let's see here. I would say this, and I can only talk about myself because I'm the only person that I really know, is this. I will tell each and every person this, is that this life is a journey, and we're all on this journey. However, we each have our own individual stories. And there's something about the next person's story that can help me on my journey. And I pray that there's something about my story that can help them. See, sometimes we miss the fact that everything, here's the key thing that I can never, ever get past, is people always say, I'm going through. Even their subconscious mind knows that they're not staying there. When they say, I'm going through this, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. Even in the subconscious, you're not permanent where you are. We're passing through, and everything that we have been given, every single thing is meant not for us, but for somebody else.
Yes.
It is not. See, the gifts that we have, the talents, they're ours, yes, but they're not for us. An apple tree does not eat apples.
That's right.
It's not for us. God put us on this journey in order to be an example for others that are going through whatever they're going through. So that our life should encourage. There's nothing that we should be ashamed of. Is because we all came from somewhere. But the greatest part is we're all going somewhere. The one thing that I would say for anybody is you should want to leave here. Leave this place empty. For me, they ain't putting nothing but a shell in the ground because there's not going to be anything that I'm going to leave inside of me. I'm putting it all on the table. And the last thing that I would say to each and every person is what you should discover, and you should ask yourself, what is my why? What is my why? See, and what I have discovered is your why cannot be tied to anything external. Your why has to be something that's internal. See, your why is that thing that God connected you to. That's your why. That's your purpose. That's the vision. That's the thing that he gave you to give to others. And when you can unlock that, man, you have found peace that surpasses all understanding. When you get that connection, but you have to go through to get to. And once more, again, the key word is through.
Through.
You keep on moving. You keep on moving.
Wow. Well, I love that. Oh my gosh. We're all on this journey. Well, you know what? We want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Our final things I want to go by, I want to give everybody a quick opportunity to just do a quick shout out about if someone wants to stay engaged with you, how do they reach you? Pastor Doug, real quick.
Hey, I'm on Facebook. Look up Doug Gumby. You don't have to put the pastor on there. I'm just me.
Okay. Coach Shawanda.
Okay, you can look me up. It's just my name, Shawanda Stallworth. They made it simple so I can remember. It's on all of them: Facebook, Instagram, just my name. Very simple.
Okay. Thank you. Floyd.
I hate to be the old school one here, but I'll just give you my phone number, my office. So
Okay.
call my office, 770-461-2991. Again, 770-461-2991. My office is in Fayetteville. I got 2 individuals that work in the office. They answer the office call between 8:30 to 5. You probably rather talk to them than talk to me anyway. And then they'll set the appointment with you. They'll talk to you. And then if you can't come to Fayetteville, I can see you anywhere in the nation, something called Zoom. So we can do Zoom on the thing and go over your financial investments. And guess how much that costs you to go over advice, people?
How much?
$0.
Wow.
Floyd's going to do it
Wow.
for free because Floyd's so nice, right?
That is so awesome. Thank you for that, Floyd. Audrey, how can our audience reach you?
I'm going to soundboard off of Floyd. You can contact me at 954-294-5973. I'm Audrey at therxview.com. You can contact me via email. I would love to set up a session with you, discuss some health and wellness opportunities. I definitely encourage mental wellness and not lay into mental health. Navigate people towards a better way of living and identify what custom process we need to go through for your situation, because everyone's journey is different. And so I'm Audrey at the RX View.
Love it. Thank you, Audrey. Jay White, how do we contact you?
Okay, you contact me at JAYTheDreamer, JAYTheDreamer.com. And Shenita sent me a message in the comments saying to talk about the wine. So one of the businesses I own is a wine company. I'm sure some of our people on here, maybe you do recognize this image on the front, maybe you don't. This is a piece done by a man named Gilbert Young. It's called He Ain't Heavy. This piece has been around for as long as I've been alive, 52 years old. But Gilbert thought it not robbery to do this particular one-of-a-kind piece of artwork on some of the wine that I have. So I own about 40 different wines. There you go, Neat. I posted it. I can be contacted at JAYTheDreamer.com, and look forward to working beside you, with you, and in your purpose.
Awesome. Thank you, Jay.
Jay, is that
Thank
for
you.
communion purposes?
This is art. No, this is art. Ironically,
art.
This is a part of
My bad.
business. No, it's a part of business.
My bad.
And these bottles start at $1 million a bottle, so I no longer.
Well, you see the bottles behind me, so I was looking at those bottles. I'm saying that's something I need to put behind the thing over here, Jay.
Oh my God!
It's a whole series.
What do we need to do here? So we replace these bottles with that bottle.
I love it. I love it. I
wrote down the information, so I'll be getting in contact with you, Jay.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Well, I personally want to thank everyone for their knowledge and expertise and contribution. And I'm new to the Atlanta area, so I'll be getting in touch and following up with each and every one of you with your respective services and platforms. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. And Donnie, how can our audience reach you?
Oh, yeah, it's me. It's your boy, the Louisiana Country Boy. And I can, wait a minute. What's that new thing they say? I'm Googleable.
Yeah.
Yes, most definitely. The Louisiana Country Boy. You can Google. I'm everywhere. I'm on TikTok. Even when they shut down, I was still on there. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. It is the Louisiana Country Boy. So yes.
I love it. Well, as we come to a close, I do want to just do a shout out on myself. I am Angela Lewis. I am a real estate agent with Keller Williams, West Atlanta. My handle is at Angela, the Pro Realtor. I'm also a podcast host of the Boom Lineal podcast. We are provide insights for entrepreneurs, business leaders, and real estate professionals. We would love for you to come to our website and join our financial discipline challenges that we're doing in February. It's a 28-day challenge, like no credit cards for the month of February. You can use your debit card and tracking your expenses. So go to the website, BOOMLENNIAL podcast.us and register for the challenge. We'd love to have you. A special thank you to all of the guests tonight. You all were awesome. Woo! I think we did Shenita proud, and we certainly want to thank you, Shenita, for inviting all of us. Thank you for considering me as your guest host. It has been my truly privilege and a pleasure meeting and getting to know each of you, okay? So we're going to give you back your time. Thank you for joining us. Everybody, you've got great nuggets on how to thrive in 2025. So all I got to say is go and do it.
Sure.
Bye.
Thank you.